As we're here today, the energy in the room is what excites me. And both as someone who loves social entrepreneurs, loves innovation, loves talking about the world that we're in, I thought long and hard about how to start a TEDx. So I'm going to start it with my very favorite phrase. Let me tell you a story. The story starts with me, but you're the protagonist. You're the main character of the story that we're going to tell today. I'm at the beach. It's a couple of years ago. I'm at the Outer Banks. Gorgeous spot. I'm out there with my family, and in one of those rare moments where the kids weren't fighting, no one was eating sand, there was nothing that I had to do, I found myself able to actually go into that first bank of waves. You know it, right? Everyone loves the beach. I'm in that first bank of waves, and I'm feeling the sun come on my face. And I'm in that spot where I realize, wow, what a great world we live in. As I look toward the shore, I see that my family's out there, my wife, and the kids who aren't eating sand at the moment. And all of a sudden, they wave to me, and I wave back in that idyllic moment where life really feels good. But they're waving a little bit more emphatically, and a little bit more emphatically, and they're starting to go like this to me. And I'm thinking, it's so happy that we're connecting, me and my kids and my family. And as they continue to wave at me, and I'm realizing, I've been working out. Is it that I look good? Is it that this scene of me, James Bond-esque, coming out of the waves is such a great scene for my family? And I'm not listening to what this means. And this means that the ocean that I'd entered had significantly changed. And that what I was not seeing was a rush of silver fish migrating. Is it a school? Is it a university at that point when there's thousands of them? I don't know. But a rush of fish coming toward me. And that behind them, in that second bank of waves, were dolphins. Not just a few dolphins, but tons of dolphins. My family's trying to do this to me so that I can be aware of the different sea that I am now in. And that's my job today. To this group of people, you, the innovators, the social entrepreneurs, the game changers, the people that I overheard in the restroom today say, what am I going to do with this, and how am I going to change the world? I'm going like this to you because whether or not you realize it, we're all living in a world where 5 revolutions have changed the ocean in which you're operating. There are 5 revolutions that are related, that mix with one another, that sometimes compete with one another, but that are yours to do something with. When we think about revolutions today, we oftentimes will go to a scene like the one we all lived through as we felt that we were there in Tahrir Square, through what people call the Arab Spring. The revolutions that I'm going to talk about today are revolutions that take place not just in a place like Tahrir Square, but in a town square, in a place like your congregation, like your club, like your living room. The revolutions that we're going to talk about include the youth revolution. Whether or not you realize it, something happened a few years ago on October 31st that changed the world in which you will operate as an innovator, as a social entrepreneur, and as someone who wants to change the world. On October 31st in the Philippines, a baby was born that brought us to a 7 billion world. Never in history has our planet had so many people on it at the same time. The story in and of itself is one where we have huge challenges, huge opportunities. But there's a story below that 7 billion number with all of those zeros that are part of a 7 billion world. There are young people. So we live in a world, and you will change a world where there have never been so many people and where never will there have been such a majority of young people. 43% of them under the age of 25. What does a person under the age of 25 want? That person wants to get a job. That person wants to matter. That person wants to make a difference in their community. That person wants to fall in love. That person wants security. These aren't ideas that are coming from me, but are ideas that are coming from them as they speak to us through new media and as they tell us the kind of world that they want to live in. So what does a world of 7 billion people, where 43% of them are today under the age of 25, look like? It means that your innovations, your skills, the programs that you want to put into place, the changes that you want to make, are going to be directed at a woman like this, a girl in Uganda, in an emerging economy, in a place with real challenges, but very real hope. That's the youth revolution in which you live. And it, because we're talking about her, is related to the second revolution, that whether or not you realize it, and I'm here today to go like this because it's the sea in which you're living, is the girl revolution. Years ago, if we were gathered here in a room like this today talking about the best ways to make the most change, we would be talking about the influencers or the influentials in a community. Chances are we'd be talking about a prime minister or a president. We'd be talking about how to go right to the top. And not so many years ago, less than 2 cents of every dollar that we would spend on investing in some of the world's biggest challenges would ever be directed to a girl. But that's changed today. It's changed because people have stood up and have said that no longer can we afford to make investments when we are ignoring one of the best places to make an investment that will change the health, that will change the economy, that will change the outlook and opportunity for a community, and it starts with a girl. The girl revolution has started because people have decided, I will not live in a world where 1 in 6 girls in some countries will be forced to marry before she's 15. I refuse to live in that kind of a world. There's a girl revolution going on where I'll invest in her, where I will cooperate with the people who know how we can invest with impact for a girl's life so that she's not forced to marry. Because every year of additional education that a girl gets will dramatically reduce the chances that she'll die in childbirth, or that she'll be subject to some of the problems that perpetuate, as we all know, cycles of the same problems that create the same situations that then need additional support and resources. The girl revolution, however, is not just about that girl. I'm not just talking about the girl in Uganda. I'm talking about these girls. I'm talking about the teens in the United States of America who grew up, again, for the first time in our world's history, with a computer in their home, with an internet connection that made Mali a place that they could understand, that made Southeast Asia not something on a map, but a place with people that they could connect to. The girl revolution is happening in many places, and it's happening with the teens in the United States of America and all over the world who are connecting and who are standing up for causes, for innovation. These girls have an incredible effect on what happens in their home. Because when a young girl, as the United Nations Foundation research showed, when a young girl gets behind a cause, her household is 63% more likely to back that cause. That means mom and dad might not have known about an issue. They might have not talked about vaccines or child marriage or how to end disease. But if the girl's involved, that girl with a cell phone, that girl with an internet connection, and a lot of gumption, her house is going to get involved with that cause. And so you'll see that it's related to another revolution that has a little bit to do with that piece of plastic in your pocket. This youth revolution, this girl revolution, is happening at the same time that a mobile revolution has changed the way that all of us are doing business. Everything we've heard today, everything we'll hear about as we continue our conversations about social good, about support for global issues, has to do with answers that could be found in a mobile phone. So in a country like this one, where 90% of the people who have a phone are not going to have any phone, they're going to have the smart kind. They're going to have the kind that can connect, that can search, that can donate, that can vote. In a world where there will be over 1/2 coverage availability in places like sub-Saharan Africa. And if you listen to experts like Josh Nesbitt, we live in a world where the next 1 billion people to get their first cell phone match very closely to the 1 billion people who may never enter a health clinic. The mobile revolution means that it might be possible for that woman or that girl who can't get to a health clinic to be diagnosed from her cell phone. It might mean that a mom who will never get access to a doctor can get updates from her cell phone via text message. It means that we live in a time where the answers might just be found in the palm of your hand. I love Yvonne Chaka Chaka, a woman known around the world who entertained hundreds of thousands, if not millions, during the World Cup with a voice that commands. And I saw her as she talked about this mobile revolution. Let me share with you what I learned from her. Yvonne Chaka Chaka said to me, we have mobile phones, we have all of this influence, we have first ladies, people who command attention and respect in their countries. I work with the first ladies in Africa, she said. Let's bring them together. Let's bring them with their mobile phones. Let's take advantage of this revolution, and let's have them start communicating with their constituents. Let's have them share this information. Yvonne knows we live in that mobile revolution, which means that each of us are part of a broader thing happening in the United States, of a broader wave of support for global issues that's a philanthrorevolution. The word philanthropist and the idea of philanthropy for many years was reserved for the fat cats, the big people, the wonderful men and women who might have their names on the side of a university, who might have a wing of a library or a large institution named after them. But the word philanthropist is being democratized because of that youth revolution, the mobile revolution, the girl revolution. The revolutions that are combining mean that philanthropy that we know today and that your children will be born into and die in a world of is completely different from philanthropy of any other era on the face of the planet. That's why this is what a philanthropist looks like. This is Nate. Nate's a Boy Scout. He's from North Carolina. And Nate hated the problem when he learned about malaria. Nate realized that he had what it took to become a philanthropist. He found the Nothing But Nets campaign. He activated people around his troop. He got involved with people in his church community. And because of Nate, tens of thousands of dollars, and thereby tens of thousands of lives, have been saved. Nate didn't need permission for anyone to call him a philanthropist or allow him into the philanthropy club. Because Nate's part of this generation that, according to Pew, says that you, those of you that are emerging in this new age, in this new generation, 7 out of 10 of you are going to make good, not an afterthought, but a part of everything you do in business, in your life, and in your family. So while you may listen to a lot of complaints about the millennials and what they do and what they don't, we know something that they want, and that is that they want to be part of good every day of their life. 7 out of 10 of this generation will make it a part of what they do from the day they open their business, from the day they start their startup, and from the moment they establish their family. All of these things feed into where you can have a place where you can have an impact in the world's most pressing issues, because a social good revolution is underway. Years ago, the things that we've discussed today at this TEDx meeting, the things that you work on, were things that may have been for a select few to discuss. But over the last few years, by truly leveraging new media and embracing new media and being excited about what it can do, the social good community has decided, I don't have to be a politics wonk. I don't have to be a global expert, and I definitely do not need to be a prime minister to have a voice. So that the meetings of the UN General Assembly in New York are starting to look like this, where people with an idea, where people with passion, where people with a laptop, quite frankly, and a little bit of Wi-Fi are able to go to convenings like the Social Good Summit. And they're able to tell the world's leaders as they're meeting in real time, this is what you've come to discuss, and this is what we want on the agenda. Support for world leaders, support for institutions, large like the UN, small like NGOs that are doing important around the world, has changed because of this social good revolution. 260 groups, people like you, came together when they realized there was a chance to be part of that social good conversation, so that their presidents, that their queens and kings, that their prime ministers would not be going back and forth to the world's most important meetings without them having a voice. This is the world in which we all live. This is the world, if those of us who can see it can help you realize that you're in very different seas, means that while creativity may demand patience, let's be honest, creativity thrives in a revolution. Creativity deserves revolutionary thinking. But creativity, the kind that you want, the kind that you're talking about, has to have revolutionaries behind it. These 5 revolutions are yours for the taking. They're the sea in which you swim, and they're the reason that we're all going to be part of a better world. Thank you.